can see.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Letterkenny Island Developers Group. So today is our third session where we'll be learning the Lightning Web components with Sahil. So today we'll be talking about component communication using events. Uh, you can follow us on various social channels, that is Twitter, Facebook, through our social handles, and you can also provide feedback of the sessions on the LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and also you can join our community chatter group, which is with the handle LKSF Chatter, and you can find all the presentation and the demo codes, all the details on the chatter group. You can also share feedback there on the chatter group with us, which will help us improve the sessions. I'm Nishant Singh Pamar. I'm the community group leader for Letterkenny Developers Group, and I work with Pramerica in Letterkenny. And also, I have 6 years of Salesforce implementation experience and 8x Salesforce certified. I am a trailhead ranger, loves to listen to music, play guitar for some time, and also come from Udaipur in India. So that's about myself. You can follow me on Twitter at Nishant_SP and reach out to me for any queries or anything. For today's meeting, just quick actions. Just unmute yourself, mute yourself if you're not speaking, and then keep your camera off to make sure there is no bandwidth issues. And if you have any questions in between the session, you can put your questions on the spreadsheet we have at the LWC query, and we'll answer all the questions there. So we have already answered all the questions which we got from day one and day two sessions. You can check out those answers. You can also use this sheet as a reference or frequently asked questions for LWC. And if you cannot access the spreadsheet, you can put the questions in the chat, and I'll transfer the questions from the chat to the spreadsheet, and those questions will be answered by Sahil end of the day. So over to you, Sahil. You can give your introduction and start. Thanks.
Thank you, Nishant. Let me just share my screen. Once you're able to see my screen.
Yep, we can see your screen now.
Okay, great. And just to confirm, are you able to see the VS Code as well?
Yeah, you can see.
Okay, great. Okay. So, good morning, everyone. Good evening. We have joined from India. So, my name is Sahil, and I work at MTX Group. So, I work from Jaipur, Rajasthan, India, and I have like around 9 years of experience and 6 years of Salesforce experience. So, I have been taking these trainings from long. It's like almost 5 years. So, I have worked into multiple roles as a developer, senior developer, tech lead, tech architect, and even as a corporate trainer. So, and my current role, I manage a lot of internal applications. I work as a tech architect on them, as well as myself do some kind of critical developments as well. And I also take care of all the learning and certification and all the internal trainings for our freshers and lateral hires. And you can find me on Twitter. So my Twitter handle is Sahil Batra. There is a double A into the Batra and 18. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can send me a request, and we can always connect it. You can send out the, I could say, the feedback of the session, and we can be in connect for this. If you have any other expectation of training, definitely you can let Nishant or let me know. Definitely we can conduct some trainings in future as well on multiple topics. Okay. So moving on to our today's session. So in our last session, we have seen like what are track decorators. So we talked about few of the decorators in our last session. Like what is the use of a track decorator, where we have to use it. So we have also seen um, how we use it with the primitive data type or with the uh, object type properties or with our arrays as well. Then we have also talked about our API decorators, which is used for creating the public properties and the public methods. Then we have also talked about the mutation of our public property. So whenever we pass any of the data from parent to child, we cannot directly mutate it. So there we conducted one of the demo as well, and we have seen that we have to create a shallow copy and then only we can update it. But still, it do not update it into the parent, as we cannot have a track and at the data API the both of them together. So that we have seen already in the last demo. So you can go through the recording and see if you are not able to understand that concept. Okay. And we also talked about our public Boolean property. So if you create a public Boolean property, we give it false by default, and whenever you include that property name, while including the child component, it becomes true. It consider it as true. Then we also talked about getter and setter property. That's like whenever you don't want to declare the property name, you can create a get method and set method, and accordingly you can use those get and set and directly get the values onto your UI. So we have seen that as well. Then we also talked about public method, that if we have a parent and child component, how exactly we can call a child method from our parent. Okay. The next topic was the slot. It's like if you have to pass something as a markup to a child component, there we make use of our slots. It's similar to the facets what we have in our lightning component. So we did one demo for that as well. And we have gone through the component life cycle. We didn't do any, I could say, a big demo on this. It's like normally we just so we have seen how exactly they work in which order, and then we have conducted a small demo where we have seen the order, like how exactly they get printed. Okay. So this is all what we covered in our session 2. And in today's session, we'll just cover the most important part of like our web components. If I talk about our Lightning components or Lightning web components, so events being the most important part. So today we'll be covering the events and what is the exact use of events. It's for mainly for the communication. So you pass message from one component to another. Now it could be from child to parent, or it could be within siblings, or it could be like event passing between two individual components which are not related to each other at all, but they are onto the same page. So we'll be doing a few demos on that. So to start with our events, like we have different events. Like we have our browser events. We have seen on click, on blur, on mouse over. So these are our browser events which are taken care by browser. But yes, in case of our Lightning web components, we can design our own custom events as well. Okay, so we can design our own custom events as well. And as I told you, it help in communication. So whenever you have to pass some data from, or you have to pass some message from child to parent, or between two unrelated components which are onto the same page. So there we make use of our events. Now here the events are built on DOM events. So it's like I could say a web standard. So we have a collection of APIs and objects, and we use them to create those events. So we'll look at that, like how exactly we can create our custom event into our system and how they work. Okay. And whenever we create an event, so it has, I could say, few important elements. We have to give an event a name. So today we'll learn about how exactly what are the naming conventions we have to use while naming an event. Then we initialize that event, we give it a name, and then we fire that event. Okay. Once you fire that event or you dispatch that event, then we handle that event at another component. Okay. So uh, again, it's like whatever we'll be doing, it would be less on theoretical part, but more on practical part, because at the end you have to implement this LWC, understand how exactly it work when it comes to events. Okay. Now, as I told you, it's like it use DOM events, and it is a combination of certain APIs and objects. So we have one custom event interface which we use, which help us to create the event. Okay. Then we have a detail property. So whenever we create an event, the custom event, we have a detail property. So any data we have to pass from one event to like one component to another. It's like you can say a message passing. In Salesforce, if I talk about, you have to pass some data from child component to parent, or one component to another, which are not related to each other. So there, this detail property is used. And we have one more event, target interface, which help us to dispatch the event, and then we can handle them as well. So we'll see how exactly we create an event, what naming convention we follow, how we dispatch them, and how we handle those events. Okay. So we have to use a custom event constructor to create an event. We'll see that practically as well. Now, whenever you create an event name, so that is important. Whenever you create an event name, it should not contain any uppercase letters. We'll talk about it because how your standard works and how it get converted. So the if I talk about a naming convention and the best practice as well, it should not contain any of the uppercase letters. It should not contain spaces. And if you want to follow like if you want to differentiate or separate two words instead of using a camel case notation, you can use an underscore from there. Okay. So if you name an event as, I could say, selected. Okay, if you name an event as selected, so what Salesforce do, or you must have seen while writing a code, most of the time we see on click, on blur, on mouse over. So that on word, that is automatically added by your, I could say, as a part of a standard. So here also the same thing happens. So whenever you name a event, it should be in small letters and do not start with the word on, because your web standard automatically append the word on with that. Okay, so we'll see that how things works. Then, so these are the syntax. It's like we create an event, we provide it with a name, then we dispatch a event, and if we have any kind of data which we have to pass, we can pass it in detail property. And now we'll see how exactly we fire a event and we listen to the event. Okay, so let me quickly log in into my org. So I'll be using our examples related to previous demo only. So if you remember my few of the demo where we created a iterator, let me just show you that quickly. So I created a iterator and I displayed few of the contact records in my last session, the session 2. If you remember, when once we do a composition like including a child component inside parent, so our child component was responsible for displaying a single contact record. It's like I didn't query it from my Salesforce database or using Apex. I just created a JavaScript object and in the form of array, and I just displayed that array. So it's like, and my parent component was responsible for passing that values. Okay, so let me quickly show you that demo 7 and then we'll move to our another demo. Okay, so what I did, I created a parent component and used a for each, and where I was passing the context. Now what we have into the context, we have it's like an array of JavaScript objects. We have ID, name, and title, and three, I could say, elements I have taken. Then I was passing each element to my child component. I was passing each element to my child component. If I show you my child component, in my child component, I didn't have much of the code. It's like I was just displaying the name and I was displaying the title. So just ignore these two buttons. But yes, I was displaying the name and I was displaying the title. And we have this contact detail property which was there, and it was only like we were using it as a public property. That's why I have used a API decorator. So I was passing this contact detail property from my parent, each contact, and it was just displaying. So this was the demo which we did earlier. Now we'll use the similar concept, similar example, and try to understand our events. Okay, so it was all data flowing from your parent to child. Okay, but now we'll use the same concept, same example, and we'll understand events like your data flow from your child to parent, what different concepts we have while creating the events, and another is how exactly the communication between happens between two events which are independent and which exist on the same page. Okay, so we'll talk about that today. So let me quickly remove each of the components. I will just put one by one and then we'll see. So this is all same example I'll be using. That's why we took that demo 7. Okay, so to start with creating the events and how we create them, how they work. So what I did, I created one component and I name it as demo 13 contact details. So this is similar to our demo 7 child component where what we have one, I could say, a property contact details. So we are displaying name, we are displaying title, and so in my JavaScript file, I have this contact details. So this was our previous thing, but now the changes which we have added now. Okay, just give me a second. Let me put it. So now what changes we have done in the component onto our div, onto our div. Whenever someone click onto the div, I call this JavaScript method select handler. Okay. So whenever someone click on it, I call this JavaScript method select handler. Now in my select handler, I have a console. Now how we create an event, as I told you, we use our ECMAScript concept here. So I have taken a constant, given it any of the variable name and new custom event. This is our event name. Okay, so this is our event name. Okay, so as I told you, event name should start with small letter, no uppercase, and we do not include onward as well. Do not start it with on. So that's why I've taken only selected, and we have a detail property as well, which is used to pass any of the data. Okay, so if you want to pass our data from child to parent, we have a detail property. So here you can just pass your JavaScript object as well or a primitive value. So what I'm doing here, I'm not passing the complete details. I'm just passing the contact ID. That means this child component will display my contacts, the 3 contacts, and whenever I click on any of the div, it will call this method, and here I'm creating the event. So you have to use new custom event, give it a name, and in your detail, whatever data you want to pass, you can put it. This is optional. Like if you don't have any of the what we say data which you have to pass, you can just remove it and you can just create selected event equal to new custom event, and in bracket you can just give selected. Okay. Then we are using this.dispatch event and selected event. So what will happen? It will create an event and it will dispatch your event. Okay. So this is what we have to create a particular event. Okay. Now going on to the parent component. So let's talk about our parent component where we have used this child component. So in my parent component, I have made some of the code changes. Okay. Now what I did in my parent component, if you see this line of code, this was my previous demo. So we have contexts in the JavaScript. We are iterating over them and we are passing each of the contact details to context. So this was our last demo. Now what I have done, I have taken a lightning layout. So this is one of the standard component which is there into the library. It helps us to divide our screen into, I could say, multiple grids, you can say, and there we can display multiple other things. Okay, so what I have done, I have taken I have taken a lightning layout and I have taken two layout items. Okay, so it divide my complete component into two parts. In first component, the same thing, you display all your child records using your child component. And in the second, what I am doing, I am displaying the selected context. So what demo I am trying to perform here, I have a list onto the parent. Okay, so let me just show you on screen first and then we'll talk about the code. Okay, so all these three divs, I could say, or three tiles or three contexts, you can say, these are getting displayed with our child component. So these all are our child component. That means our child component is getting created three times and each component is responsible for displaying one contact. Okay, now what we are trying to do here, this is my child component. Whenever I click on a child component, so whenever I click on any of the child components, so I have given on my div on click. So if I click on that particular div, it sends out some data. That means whichever contact has been clicked, and we display that contact into the parent. Okay, so anything happening at the child, we are creating an event from our child and we are dispatching that event and we are handling that event at parent. So if you have already done Aura, you must have seen component events and application event. So this is equivalent to your component events. Okay, so in my parent, I have this is responsible for printing a child. We'll talk about this, what this on selected is. But before that, I have taken another layout item. That means my right hand side. And there I am just displaying selected contact is, and I am just displaying a selected contact name and a selected contact ID. So what this selected contact is, definitely it's one of the property which I have defined in my JavaScript. Now let's talk about the JavaScript file. Okay. So what we have in JavaScript file, I created a context. So we are passing these contexts to child. It print me all the values. So your child is responsible for displaying these values. Whenever I click onto a particular div, whenever I click onto a particular div, your select handler of child get called. It creates an event. It passes this contact ID and it dispatch that event. Okay, so this is how we are dispatching it from the child, and now we'll handle that event. Okay, how you have to handle that event, the first change you have to do it is on selected. So how this on selected came up, if you remember, we created an event name and we give it the name as selected. So you have to append the word on, and here we are giving on selected. So whenever that event is happen, you have to execute this. So whenever we receive that event, that our child component notify us of the selected event, we have to perform this method, or we have to execute the code which is written in this method. And how we get this, we have to use on selected. But if you have used on selected here, then it would have become on selected. So that won't be a, I could say, good practice. So that's why do not include a word on, because Salesforce, or you, I could say, our standard framework automatically append the word on, and you have to give on selected. And whenever that event is fired, your parent component will receive that event and it will handle that event. And during your event handling, it will execute this context selected method. Okay. Now let's see what we have in the context selected method. If you see here, I have taken a contact ID because from there I'm passing a contact ID. So here I have written event.detail. If you remember, we have a detail property in which we pass all the data. We are using the same property here, and we have to just write event dot detail. So we receive our contact ID here. Now, how I am getting a selected contact? This is my array, and I am using a array.find method to get my selected contacts. So this dot array dot find, this is my, I could say, a temporary variable. So if your contact ID is equal to triple equal to the ID which is passed from your child, put that complete record into the selected contact. Okay. Now, as I am populating the complete selected contact, this is my private property. It gets changed, and this part, the another part in the layout item get re-render. Okay. Let me just show you the output, and then I will just give you a quick walkthrough from the code that what step you have to follow, and then we'll jump on to the another demo. Okay. So, so this is our code we have. We are creating these contacts, and the contact which is getting displayed, this is the, I could say, responsibility of your child component. Now, whenever I click onto a particular div, okay, whenever I click onto a particular div, your child component fires a event. It goes to your parent component. Your parent component handles the event. So we have on selected attribute which we have written. Okay, and whenever that event is fired, it catches that event and execute a code which we have written. So wherever I will click, it will just show the contact selected contact name as well as the ID. Okay. So just giving you a quick walkthrough of the code. So in child component, we are displaying our name and title, and whenever a div is clicked, we call select handler. Okay. What is happening in select handler? We are creating an event, giving it a name. Okay. And whatever data we have to pass, we are giving it a data as well. And we are dispatching that event. Okay. So this is what we have in child. And now in parent component, to handle that event, we have written on selected. So on selected came up with the name of the event. So if you have a name as selected, you have to write on selected here. And whenever that event is, like, we get that event that is fired and we want to listen to that, it execute this contact selected. In contact selected, what we are doing, we are getting the data which is passed from the child. We are searching our array, and we are finding the selected contact. Whenever the selected contact get updated, wherever you have used it, it get re-rendered. Okay. So this is how your event is handled. So we call it as a declarative approach. So we have declared it like on selected, and we have given it a our JavaScript function name that what has to be performed once we uh, get that event from our child component. Okay, so that is known as our declarative approach. So we'll also talk about our programmatic approach, like how we can use a JavaScript code to bind a listener. Okay, so here we are just binding a listener in this manner. This is a declarative approach. Now I'll see how exactly we can do it with our JavaScript code as well. Okay. So this is the one demo which we have. Now moving on to the next demo. So here we'll see, instead of giving a declarative approach, that means instead of using this on selected, we'll try to bind our component, basically the events listener, using our JavaScript code. Okay. So what will be the difference in that? Definitely will not have this on selected, and we have to say, write some code into our parent component so that we can bind a listener. Okay, so we'll talk about it. Let me just close this. So it's like I have taken all similar demos so that you don't have to see much like how these demos has been created, how what parent is doing, what child is doing. So I have taken all similar demo. If I talk about our demo 14, it's the same thing. You have your contact details, you have your name, it has a on click, And if you go to JavaScript file, you are creating a event and you are firing a event. So there is no change between your demo 13 and demo 14 child component. So we are displaying the context whenever you click on any of the div, fire a event, and there's a small change. We have this bubbles too. We'll talk about it. I have two demos for this, and you will, it will, I could say your concept will for this bubbles equal to true will get cleared into the next demo, which we'll do. But yes, there's a small change which we have done if you compare between 13 and 14, but we'll talk about this, why this has been done. Okay. Now going to our parent component. So just closing this. So in your parent component, if I talk about the changes, you do not have on selected. So we have not used a declarative approach as of now here, and we have not added on selected here. Okay. Now, if I talk about a JavaScript file, so we have few changes in JavaScript file. So this is our contact array, which is passing our complete list of contact selected. I have taken the same method like to handle it. Definitely, whenever you have to handle something, whatever code you have, we have to, it's the same code. But the only changes of binding a event listener. Okay, so what we do now, we are writing a JavaScript code to bind the listeners. Okay, so how we do that? Basically we are putting it into a constructor. So whenever a component gets start loading, your constructor get executed first, and there only we are binding that if there is an event whose name is selected, the name of event is selected happens, perform this task. Okay, so there are two way of binding it. So whenever you write a constructor, you have to write the first word as super so that it do not disturb the standard flow. So that's why we are writing the super, and this should be the first line. Then there are two ways of binding it. First, you can write this dot template dot add event listener. Give the name. So here also you don't have to use on, you don't have to append anything. Directly use the event name which you have fired. So whatever you have given into a child component, exactly use the same event name. And then you can say this dot contact selected, basically your method dot bind this. So you are binding your event with one of the methods. So this is one thing how you can bind it. Another, if you don't want to create a method, another option is like you can say this dot template dot add event listener selected, and we have passed a variable, and you can say event dot detail, and you can perform these things here as well. Okay, so whatever code is written here, the similar code is here. It's like if you have written a method directly, you can bind that as well, or you can write a code here as well. So both of the thing works. Now it works in a similar fashion how your declarative approach works. But if you have seen our child component, there was a small change. So let me quickly open that JavaScript file. There was a small change, and I gave this bubble equal to true. So I have given a value as bubble equal to true. So as I told you, basically our Lightning Web component use the concept of a shadow DOM. Okay. So each of your component is isolated from each other, and your CSS and all do not disturb each other, and even your events do not pass from one component to other. Now, if we have to make those event flow from your child to parent, okay, if we have to make your event flow from your child to parent, we make use of this bubbles too. So there's a concept of bubbling and capture. If you have seen, if you have done lightning components, there we have two phases, bubbling and capturing. So if you search Google as well, you will get all details about it, bubbling and capturing event. Bubbling is like your event flows from your child to your parent, then grandparent, and capture is like from grandparent, again it flows from your child and then to your from your grandparent to parent and then to your child component. Okay, so your lightning components aura, it support both of the phases. So it support your bubbling and capturing both of the event. But in case of our what we say, in case of our lightning web component, it's only support your bubble phase. It do not support the capture phase. Okay, so that is by default we have. So what we have done, we have added bubbles equal to true, but you must be thinking why we have not added bubbles equal to true in my last demo. Okay, why we have not added that? Because if you see my demo 13, uh, let me stop. If you see my demo 13, we have used a declarative approach. So what happens? We are already telling our parent component that there is an event which might come up and the event name is selected. And if that event occurs, we have added a listener and this is what we have to execute. Okay. So we have used a declarative approach. That's why we don't have to use bubble, and by default the bubble value is false. Okay, so by default if you don't give anything, it false. So we have used a declarative approach. That's why we don't have to mention any bubbles true and all. So by default it falls and it takes up. But in case of our programmatic approach, we have not added any of the like handler here that on selected this should happen. That's why what we have to do in order to for our parent to listen to that event. Okay, in order for our parent to listen to that event, we have to use bubbles colon true. Okay, so this is the important thing, and we'll talk about more into our another demo. So there's another concept also which is associated to it. We'll talk about that as well. Yes, so if you have bubbles too, basically your event crosses your shadow boundary and goes from your child to your parent and grandparent, and you can handle them there. Okay. Now, if we see it in our org, how exactly it works, so it will work in a similar way, but yes, it's a programmatic approach, how we have added our listener using our JavaScript code. Sorry, I have to do add. You will not find any, I could say, difference in functionality, but yes, there is a difference in the code. So if I click here and display me the same whatever I could say contexts I'm clicking, it displays those. Okay. So this is how your what I could say these things work. So you use a bubble true and you can add a JavaScript code. Now, what could be a difference? We'll talk about it in our next demo. What could be a difference and how exactly we can solve that as well. So we'll talk about it. Okay. On to the next, we have our event propagation. So what this event propagation is, again, it's a your Lightning user Shadow DOM. So by default, we use basically the two properties, bubble and there's a mistake, composed. Okay. So these two property control the behavior, but in your, I could say in Lightning web component, till the time you're working within Salesforce, your bubbles plays a big role. Okay. So if you use bubble, it basically, if it is true, it travel to your what we say your to your DOM or to your shadow DOM, I could say. And if you use composed, event can pass through a shadow boundary as well. So what the shadow boundary is, you have a complete DOM and you have multiple component into it. So if you want that your event should flow from your child to parent, there we use bubble. But yes, if you want the event should flow from a child to parent till the root of your DOM, so there we make use of our composed. But yes, as a part of LWC, I have you talking more about this bubble. So if you keep it false, it remain within the same component. It do not flow outside. So there you have to use a declarative approach, which we have already seen. We'll talk about this bubble true and composed false. So by default, both of them are false. So we'll talk about more of this. And there's another, I could say, another combination which says bubble true and compose true. So this combination could be used, as per my understanding, this could be used in at the places where you include your different frameworks with LWC and there you want to do the event handling. So there that would be used. But if you're doing everything within Salesforce, you have your application, your components together. There, I think the bubbles will help you out and you don't have to think about this composed. Okay. So let's do one more demo, demo 15 of event propagation, and it will help us to understand more how exactly it works. So moving on to the code, let me close this. So in my demo 15, we are talking about our child component. So what we have in child component, it's totally the same. I have not made any of the changes. So if I talk about demo 13, 14, 15, your child component remains same. Only the bubbles true was the change which we have done. Display a single contact details, and whenever we click on it, whenever we click on to a particular div, it creates an event and it fire that event. Okay. And here also we have used this bubbles too, but yes, there's small change which is there. I am not passing the details property. So this is like, I want to understand the concept how these things work. So you can pass a detail property as well, but here I have not used the detail property. So I want to tell you that whenever you use bubbles true, you can directly access all your public properties into your parent. Okay, so you can directly access your public properties into your parent as well. So we'll be doing that demo. So here, no, nothing much change. It's a similar, I could say, child component. On click, it fire a event, and we are passing it. We are not passing any of the detail like which has been clicked, but we are just doing bubbles equal to true, and we are dispatching the event. Okay. Let me close this. Now, let me take our parent component. Okay. So in my parent component, what I have done, if you see here, there are a few changes. Okay, there are a few changes. I have not used a programmatic approach. That means I have not added the listener using our JavaScript code. The first thing. Okay. I have not added a listener using our JavaScript code. So you cannot find that event dot this dot template dot add listener. That is not there. Plus, if you see here, this line, here also I have not added a declarative approach. Okay, I have not added a declarative approach. So why this is there? Let me just tell you what should be the best practice and what should we use. Now, as of now, we have three contexts. Okay, we have three contexts. What is happening? Your child component is being initialized three times. Okay, your child component is being initialized three times, and if you use declarative approach, okay, your listener, okay, basically your listener, which we use like which we were doing here on selected, this was the code here earlier. So this your listener get initialized multiple times and it create duplicates. Okay, so definitely this should not be a, I could say, best practice. So what we have done, so there's another way to handle that, and still if you want to handle it onto your parent component. So what I did, we removed this declarative approach here, and what I did into my layout item. And if you use bubble true, basically your event flows from your child to parent. Okay, your event flows from your child to parent. So what I did, onto my parent where I am using this lightning layout item, I have included on selected here. Okay, so I have included my on selected here into my lightning layout item. Okay, so what will happen if it is 3, it do not get initialized 3 time, it will only get initialized 1 time, because your lightning layout item, so if I display this parent component, it will get initialized only 1 time. Okay, so I have taken this context selected here. Now you fire an event from your child, it get handled and listen at the parent. Okay, now when it get listened, what we have done here, into our JavaScript. So there we were using our, if you remember, we were using contact ID, and we were using event dot detail. So this is what we were using. Okay, so this is what we were using. But now, if you have this bubble true, if you have this bubble true, directly you can get the property. Okay, so if I open my child component JavaScript file, okay, I have my property contact details. This property is responsible for displaying each of the contact record. So whenever it is clicked, what I am doing, directly I am using or accessing that contact details. So what you have to use here, instead of event dot details, you have to use event dot target dot contact details. Okay, so from wherever the event is happening, we are using the directly the API property. Now one more important concept, if I use a detail here, if I use a detail here, for example, and I just use test, if I try to pass this, this would be undefined. Okay, this would be undefined. If I try to basically, let me just make it more clear. Sorry, this was wrong. Okay, I say contact this dot contact details, comma. So I'm just if you use detail, how exactly it works, I'm just telling you that. And let's say my message. Okay, if I have this thing in my detail, if I pass this, okay, if I try directly to use event dot target dot what we say, okay, and if I try to use xyz dot what, my message. Okay, that means if I directly try to use this my message, the what we say our static thing, basically this will return me undefined. Okay, so directly we cannot use event dot target and access any of this, I could say, any of the static data which we are passing. Okay, so what I will do, I will just post one more demo. I will just name it as demo 15 something after this session, and that will help you to understand this, okay, how exactly it works. Okay, so what we are doing here as of now, but we are not passing any of the detail. So I will just post one more demo which will show you that if you pass any of the static data, it will just show you null or undefined. Okay, so I'm just, or I will just update the same code. Okay, so what I'm doing here, directly you can use your event.target.contact details as well. And now what I'm doing, once I get this contact details, I am searching the contact ID and assigning the selected contact to this selected contact. Okay, so the main thing which the concept which you want to cover here is like, if you have your bubbles true, you can directly access your child properties, your API properties with event.target.your property name. Okay, so directly you can access that if you use bubbles as true. Okay, let me just show you the output. 15 event propagation. The UI will still remain same, the functionality will still remain same, but whenever I click on it, it works accordingly. So you can see these are the various ways, various best practices, what you have to follow, how you have to follow, and it depends on what exactly the scenario you have, and you can use any of the thing out of these. Okay, you can use a declarative approach, but yes, if I compare between demo 13 and 15, it's like it has been initialized multiple times. It's good to use at the parent, and directly you can access your API, I could say properties as well, the public properties. Okay. Now this is what we have done. Like whenever something happened onto your child component, you're passing it to the parent. In our session two, we did our parent to child as well. So how you can call a method of child from parent, and how you can pass data from parent to child. This we already covered. Now we'll talk about our communication between our independent components. So you have two components which are totally not related to each other, not in a hierarchy, but still you want to pass data from one component to another. Okay, so what we use here, so we have a library which is already created by Salesforce, and we call it as, basically it's like a PubSub module. Okay, we'll talk about it, what module is, what we have in PubSub. So what PubSub is, it's like a publish and subscribe model. So if you remember your Aura and application event, so what used to happen there, your child component fire a event, it goes at the parent level, and it publish your event at every component, and wherever you have written a handler, you can handle that. Okay, the similar concept happens here. If your all components, so there's a I could say limitation to it, all your event should be there onto a single page. All your components are there onto a single page. If one component publish a event, it goes to everyone, and where you have subscribed to a particular event, or you have added a listener for a particular event, it get listened there, it get handled there. Okay, so we use this PubSub module. You can easily get that PubSub module. So we have something known as LWC recipes. So it's a GitHub repository, LWC recipes. If you search on Google, you will get it. Lot of trailheads and all your documentation is linked to it. So whatever demos you have, those are present there. I am also taking few of the demo from our LWC recipes only. But yes, wherever few are, I could say complex there, I try to make them easier so that you can understand it. But it's like a similar demo which we have. Okay. So I have taken a PubSub module from our LWC recipe. Now let me open it and let's understand it, what exactly it is and how it works. So do not have anything into the HTML. The best thing is do not have anything into the HTML. So your Salesforce, your Lightning Web Component uses this PubSub module in order to publish and subscribe to the event. So in order to fire the event and handle the event, we use this PubSub module. So what I have done here, so if you are confused, you have to just create a Lightning Web Component. You can name it as anything, but Salesforce by default they have named it as PubSub. You should also give the same name, because if any of your developer in your company or your any of the other developer working with you on project, he need to use a PubSub library. He search with PubSub and do not find it. You must have given some XYZ name. So there it might create confusion, or he might end up adding one more library. Okay, so definitely that will not error out. Do not give any error. But yes, make sure what naming convention you are using into your project. So it's like a normal, I could say, Lightning Web Component which is created, and I copy pasted the complete JavaScript code. Now, if you see in this JavaScript code, we do not have any of the import statement. We do not start with import and class names. We'll talk about it. Okay. So we have taken a event, which is a global variable. Then, as I told you, your PubSub events only work if they are onto a same page. Okay, so definitely we need a page reference. So these are the two variables where we have the page reference. We have first page reference and second page reference. Then this is like a method which is written. So what it do, it basically checks that if your page references are same or not. So you publish one event from one component and some another component subscribe to that event. There it check that the page reference from where this component exists and it has been published. Uh, it and if you subscribe from the same page, it is basically it is subscribed from the same page or not. So you publish it from same page and it should be subscribed at same page only. So this is like a limitation what we have. So it check that if your page reference is same or not. Then we have this fire event. Okay, then we have this fire event. So what it do? It takes three things: your page reference, then your event name, which is your event name, and payload. Basically, if you want to pass some data. Okay, so if you have some data, you can pass some data from your payload. You don't. So it basically subscribe your event or dispatch your event. So this method is responsible for dispatching your event. Then we have another method, register listener. It takes event name, a callback method, and this argument basically wherever you are using it. So mostly we pass this there. Okay. So what it do? It checks that if it is from the same page reference or not. Okay. Then if it is from same page reference, then it subscribe to that event and it calls the callback method. So basically we are doing an event handling using this registered listener. So event handle so you subscribe to event using registered listener method. Now, whatever is happening, it happens programmatically through the JavaScript code. So there are two methods, unregistered listener. So you can pass the event name, some callback function, and this argument. Or there's another method as well, unregistered listener, which takes only this argument and it unregister all your listeners. Okay. So these are the methods. Now, if you see, we do not have any import onto the top. So what we have done, we have taken this complete JavaScript code and we are using the export and exporting this code. If you remember, we import LWC and this API and track decorator. Let me open one of the JavaScript file. If you see here, you import lightning element, then you import track, you import APIs. So what these are, basically these are act like a libraries which are already existing and you are using the code. Okay. Now what we have done, we have Salesforce have already created this PubSub library and they have imported all these methods which are written here. Okay, all these modules. Okay. Now you can import these registered listener, register all listener, unregistered listener, fire event, and can execute this code. Okay. So we'll do another demo after this, which help us to create a custom code, which tell us how exactly you can share your code like modules. Okay, so we'll talk about that as so this is already existing and already done by Salesforce. Now, if you have anything else, you can definitely, this is like a open source, you can write your code, you can change the names and all. But yes, this is the standard library, I could say, which we have. Now we'll see how exactly we can use it. So I have created a few of the demo and we'll see how we can use it. So we have the PubSub. Now we'll be seeing the demo 16. So in demo 16, I have three components. I have three components. Two components are parent and child. Let me show you those first. So let's talk about our child component first, which displays our contact details, what we have seen so far in other component. And we'll talk about this, what I have written here. Okay, we'll talk about this. But yes, if someone click onto the div, if someone click onto the div, it calls this method select handler. Okay, it calls this method select handler. Now, if I go to my JavaScript file, we have fired an event. Okay, so here we are not creating any of the custom events. If you want to handle it in parent and child, there you can use custom event and use it. But here we are using our PubSub module to create an event, fire it. Okay, and then we'll see how exactly we can subscribe it. So if you see our PubSub as well, let me quickly open our PubSub as well. This is the fire event method. It takes page reference, it takes event name, and it takes payload. That means any of the data which you want to pass. Okay. So here the first thing is page reference. Now, how exactly we get the page reference? Okay, how we can get the page reference? So we have not done the wire decorator yet. We'll do that in our next session once where we'll just hit our apex from our what we say from our lightning web component. There we'll see the use of wire in detail. But yes, this is like a service which is written. What it do? So whatever has been written into our I could say any of the library, it execute that code and whatever is returned from that, it save that records here. Okay. So what we have into our lightning component library, let me go to lightning component library quickly. Okay. If you search for navigation, so there is a lightning navigation module which already exists. So this is like a which is used for our navigation purpose. We'll see this in more detail as well. Okay, but yes, so what we are using here, basically it has a current page reference. What it do? It basically return a page reference. So what you have to do, you have to import current page reference from Lightning slash navigation. So I have included this current page reference from Lightning slash navigation. Then I'm using a wire adapter. It executes the code which has been written here, and whatever is returned from this code, it save it into the page ref. So you can give it anything. You can give your name as well. It's like a variable name, but I have given it as a page ref. I just copy paste it from here. Okay. So what it will do, whenever your component get loaded, your wire will run. This wire service will run. It will get the current page reference and store it in a page reference. Okay. So this is how we are getting the page reference. So what I'm doing, this dot page reference. So this act like a property and we are using it. Then second, we have to give the event name. So we have to give the event name. So I have given the name as PubSub selected. And third, we have to give a payload, which is like the data which you want to pass. So here I'm just passing the complete contact details. Okay, so I'm just passing the complete data. So what will happen if you click onto a tile? Your select handler will work. It will create one event, check the page reference and fires it. Okay, so this is what we are this is happening into a child component. Now let's quickly see the parent component. In my parent component, I have not done anything great. It's like just you are displaying this. So you are passing the value to contact details. So it will give you a contact details only. Okay. So nothing special is there, nothing in JS as well. So it's like your first component which is there. It has parent and child. Your child component is using PubSub. Now, before how exactly we are using a PubSub, I just forgot to tell you. We have to import that fire event as well from the PubSub. Now, this is a component which we have created, and so we are using C /PubSub. That is our default namespace which comes up. Okay, so we are using our fire event. So if I go to PubSub, we have these. We have exported these modules. So we are using this fire event from our PubSub. So that's why we have included it into our child JavaScript file. Okay, and that's why directly we can call this fire event. Okay, now let me show you this component, how it look like. Edit page, demo 16. So this is a all contact list component which I created. Let me just put it here. So this was my component. Now whenever I click on it, it fires the event, but as of now we have not added a component which subscribe to it, so nothing is happening anywhere. Okay, now we'll create another component which would be a complete independent component which will handle that event or subscribe to that event and print the contact which have been selected. Okay, so let's talk about that event. So if you see here, I have taken a selected contact details which will be printing here. Okay, I have taken a selected contact details which will be printing here. Now the main changes are we have to use a registered listener. Let me open PubSub. Okay, so we have to use a registered listener. Now what I have done here, it takes event name, callback method, and this argument. Okay, so we have included registered listener into our code. So import registered listener, and I've used unregistered all listener as well, or you can even use unregistered listener if you want to do it for one from the PubSub. Then to get the current page reference, because I told it's like whenever you use PubSub, the page reference should always be same. So definitely you have to get the current page reference. So I have imported the same thing. So you have your page reference here. Now what happens in my connected callback? That means your whenever your DOM get rendered, everything happens. I am adding a handler. Okay, so I am adding a and basically I use adding a registered listener. So what it will do whenever your DOM and everything get rendered, whenever this event happen, call this method, and we are passing the current I could say instance or what we have here. This argument, it's like where we have to bind our listener. So we pass this. So here I'm passing this. So this is my main thing is this is your event name and this is your handler. So you have registered your listener. So here I'm using a connected callback, and whenever you close it or you move it from one what we say component to another, or you remove your component from the DOM, I am doing a unregister as well. So I'm just using unregistered listener all and passing this here. Okay. So what happens if you see here from there, I'm just passing the data. Okay, it will come here, that payload which is there, whatever the payload you pass, it directly come here and get assigned to your selected contact details. So whatever you pass from a child component, directly it comes here and it get assigned. So from there you can pass a primitive value of any of the JavaScript object type, array, anything, and directly you can assign it here. So what happens? You publish from your one component. We have already have a listener present which subscribe to that event, and it gets subscribed and display your selected component. Okay. So let's put it onto our UI. So I'm just putting it onto the left hand side because these are not related to each other. So you can put it anywhere. Okay. So this is my one component. This is my another component. So if I click here, it display me the contact which is being selected. Okay. So this display me the contact which is being selected. So we subscribe from here. Sorry, yeah. So we publish from here and it gets subscribed at particular component. So this is how you do enter component communication which are not related to each other. The main important thing is your page definition should be same. That means they should be onto the same page. Then only it will work. Else it won't work. Okay. So this is how we do the communication between our two independent components. Okay. So this is all we have in our communication between our independent component. Now we'll do one more small demo, which is similar to your previous demo. Your PubSub was something which is already created by Salesforce, but now you have some utility method, like you are working onto some big projects and you have some utility method. Definitely you cannot write that code again and again. It's like you have some utility method that is being used 100 times. You cannot write the same code 100 times in 100 components. Okay. So there, what we can do, we can create a JavaScript code and share that code among all our components. Okay, we can share that code among all our components. So if you remember my first session, I told you that these Lightning Web components can be used to create service components as well, which act like a utility components. It do not have any of the UI, do not comes onto the screen, but still they play a big role. PubSub is something which is already created by Salesforce, but now we'll see how exactly we can write our own. Okay, so I took this example from our this what we say the LWC recipes only. Just use the same example, but yes, I can explain you that what exactly is happening there and how exactly it works. So I created one Lightning component demo 17. Okay, this is my component. So if you see here, I have not taken any of the import and all. So as you have in PubSub, I have not taken any of the import. Now I have taken a constant get term option and it basically return me some value. Okay, so what exactly this is? If you have a pick list value, for example, if you have a pick list value which needs to be generated and used at multiple places, okay, if you have a pick list value, and this is very common scenario which could come in your projects, that you have some values, some pick list values which have to be used at multiple places. Now if you create that pick list value again and again somewhere, either you can use some Salesforce concept, the custom metadata, and store it there. That is one way. Another, if you have stored it into your Lightning Web Components and used it at 100 places, you have to change. If you have to add one more value, you have to change it at 100 places. Okay, but with this, you can with your shared JavaScript code concept, you can create this pick list here only, and if you change something here, it get I could say reflected at all the places. Okay, so I have taken this pick list, this get term option, which give me few options. Okay, then I have also taken one method which takes three parameter: principal, year, and date. So what this method do? Basically, it calculate your EMI. So you have borrowed some amount for some years for some rate, and it provide you what will be a monthly EMI. Okay, so this has a formula, so some logic. And what I did, I exported both of them into my component. Okay, so I've exported both of them into my component, so there's no import, nothing. I have exported them. Now I can use my JavaScript code anywhere into my Lightning Web Component, like any of my Lightning Web Component, I could say, as a utility. So what I did, in my JavaScript code, let's talk about our using this. So here I have imported both of them. First thing, then I took three or four properties, principal, term, rate, and given some default values. Then I have taken term options. So how I am getting it? Get terms option. So what will happen? This will go and return these label and values. Okay, it will go and return these label and values. So this is like one of my property. Now, if my principal is changed, I'm calling this method. If my term is changed, I'm calling this method, basically assigning the values, taking it from the UI. And if my rate is changed, I'm calling this method. And I have also taken one more method. So this method is being called on a button click. Whenever I click on it, it basically calculate my monthly payment and I am passing all the three values into it. Okay. So let me show you the UI first and then I will come back to code again so that it's easy for you to understand. Okay. So if you see here, I have taken three inputs. Principal, it comes by default, that is coming 20. What is the amount? Lakh. Okay, so it's 2 lakh is coming by default. Term is 30 and rate is 4. So these are the values which comes by default. Now if you see the term, your term is basically coming from this term option. So if you see here, lightning combo box and value I have given as term, that means whatever is selected value, and your options are term options. Okay, so from where your terms options are coming, basically that is coming from a shared JavaScript code. Okay, all your drop down values will be coming from there. Then whenever your principal is changed, we have written a principal change method, term change method, and rate change method. Okay, so these are the three methods which have been written, which pulls the value from the UI and assign it to a particular property. Then I have created a button, the lightning button, and whenever I click on it, it calculates the monthly payment. It calculates the monthly payment. So it calls this method. Now this method call your calculate monthly payment, which is a part of your another shared JavaScript code. We pass three of the parameters, principal, term, rate. It run all the calculations and return us the monthly payment. Okay. Now this dot monthly payment, this is also one of the property which we have taken. Initially it is blank and we are displaying that monthly payment in a currency format. Okay. So, so this is how it works. So you have to create a code, export it, and you can import it and use it. So if I give it a value, 50 lakh loan for 30 years at maybe 9%, your 40,000 to 31 will be our EMI. Yeah, this is like a EMI calculator, you can say, which we have created. Okay. Now this can be used at various places. This is like become our shared JavaScript code, and it can be used in any of the component as well. Okay. So this is how your shared JavaScript code works, and it's similar to your PubSub. That is standard, but yes, we can create our own modules, export them, and use them anywhere into our components. Okay. So this is all we have for today. Now, if you have any query, definitely I could say like this much be like this will be a bit complex, but yes, try to create these small demos that will help you to clear those concepts, how these things work. And definitely uh, we have added one of the trail mix. It's like yeah, because your trailhead has a lot of good content, good examples. So if you are looking for any of the, I could say, practice things, your these trail mix will help you a lot. Okay, so you can just attempt those trail mixes. But yes, before going to trail mixes, I would request you to try to create these demos again. See the code, try to understand how things are working, see the errors you are getting, try to resolve those errors, why those errors are coming. So that will help you to clear those concepts. So it would be very easy for you if you create everything on your own and then start with these trail mixes and all. You won't be stuck anywhere, and it will help you a lot in learning this LWC. Okay. So this is all we have for today. Whatever queries you have, just add your queries to the sheet. Then our next two sessions, like in next session, we'll talk about working with the Salesforce data LDS as well, Lightning Data Service, and how we can associate our Lightning Web Components, our Apex. So we'll see the use of that. And in the last session, we'll see navigations, like how you can navigate from one component to another, to the URL, to any of the record page, to the file. So these things we'll see, and we'll also see how your Aura and LWC works together, and how events are passed between them. So we'll see that as well. Okay. So thank you all for attending this session, and see you on next Thursday. So we'll upload the recording as well as whichever code I'm doing. This will be present onto the GitHub. So I'll be pushing it to the GitHub, and from there you can see all these demos. Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining.
Thank you, everyone.